Race number 2 of Division 2 of the Skittles Super Speedway Series. Ready to be run here tonight as we finish off our race weekend at the Armory Digital Super Speedway. We ended up having our Division 1 race here last night, which went clean and green for the entirety of the 29-lap event, and also saw green flag pit stops pretty much be the deciding factor into who was going to go to victory lane. So far in Division 1, we've had 2 different winners at our first 2 races, Daytona and last night at Armory, with Ryan Butcher being the most recent winner last night. We're going to see if we're going to have our 4th total different winner and 2nd different winner here in Division 2 here this evening. Caleb Farrell is going to be starting from the 9th position, who took the checkered flag last week at the Daytona International Speedway here in Division 2. The odds not in his favor of picking up his 2nd straight victory, but then again, you never ever know with super speedway racing. Alex Benyacko lines up on the pole position, pulled a rabbit out of a hat at the last minute, setting down a lap time to qualify for the pole position. Josh Drake will line up alongside of him on row 1. Michael Norman and Alex Gray will make up row number 2, and then the Ford of Dillon Young will be making up the completion of your top 5. We're going to be very interested to see what's going to happen to the course of this race as opposed to last night's race, because I'm expecting a lot of similarities, but then again, you never know. It could be completely polar opposite. If we're going to have the same kind of racing tonight, expect 4-wide racing several rows deep and 3-wide racing all the way through the field. It's going to be crazy. There's not going to be a heck of a lot of room. They're going to be racing from the front all the way to the back, and we may end up seeing green flag pit stops for the first time here in Division 2. Let's go down trackside for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
And as the command is given, the pace car will lead the field off of pit lane. They'll make their way around the very interesting access road onto the track. The access road, kind of a winding, sweeping bank turn on the inside of turns 1 and 2, as you will see here. And as they make their way around this 2.6-mile super speedway for 1 pace lap before going green, let's give you your top 10, the points coming into tonight's race, presented by Blame Shelly Insurance. You can also check down in the description below for the starting lineup for tonight's race. Now, the top 10 basically looks like how they finished out the Daytona race here last week. It's Caleb Farrell, the race winner, the points leader. Alexander Rowe in 2nd. William Flickinger, who's going to be starting off in the top 10 here tonight in 7th. He's 3rd in points. Chris Maley currently in 4th, and Simon Salera in 5th. The rest of your top 10, Nathan Stapleton, Alex Gray, Levi McIntire, Jesse Turner, and Fury Gamington. You'll notice in the starting grid that we actually do have 2 drivers that had to go to backup cars and will start as a result at the rear of the field this evening. Eric Sadler in the 14 ended up having to do an engine change when his car blew up in qualifying, and Vince Almariego, also in a backup car, when Sadler's car blew up, he tried to bring it to pit road, hit the apron on the access road. It shot his car back up onto the racing surface, and there was nowhere for the 56 of Almariego to go. So he is at the rear of the field due to a backup car with crash damage. Sadler at the back of the field due to an engine change. Well, so far in Division 1, back-to-back races have been won by Toyotas. A Chevy Camaro and Caleb Farrell won the first race of the season for Division 2. Will we see Camaro go back to victory lane here tonight at Armory Digital? Only time will tell, as Alex Benyacko leads the field down here, heading into the very large restart zone. And the flagman's waving the green. We're racing here tonight at Armory. Let's roll. Josh Drake got a good jump there, but that inside line going to counter, going into the corner. See him fanning out a little bit outside of the top 10. Now it's going to be William Flickinger, the first car to make a 3-wide move inside of the top 10. This is very different from what we saw in Division 1 race here last night, where they fanned out 3 wide going into turn 1. Now they're going to start getting racy all the way through the field as they enter into turn 3. And Who's going to lead the first lap of this race? Looks like it's going to be the 20 of Alex Benyacko, the pole sitter. Going to get that very valuable bonus point for a lap led. And he will complete the first lap of the evening as the race leader. 4 wide behind him, though. That's Jeff Scott down on the bottom, putting Alexander Rowe in the middle. Then it's Gamington, another groove up, and then Alex Gray rim riding the top side. Benyacko coming into this race 24th in the points. Now has a rear deck lid full of William Flickinger, who is 3rd in the standings, finished in the podium last week at Daytona, now drops to the inside looking for the top position. Flickinger had a strong car in qualifying. Was one of the fastest in round 1. Didn't really have the benefit of drafting with a big pack in round 2, hence why he only qualified up in the 7th position. He and Jordan Lopes, another Toyota, were really the two that were working together in round 2. But Flickinger led that lap. Now here comes Rob Evans in the 65 with a big run on the inside line. Evans did not have a good weekend at Daytona. Trying to find where he is in the point standings here. I don't know why, but it's been very difficult for me to find names on the point standings lately. Evans came into this race 23rd in points, so definitely trying to bounce back from a mediocre finish at Daytona. There's Daniel Voyles right behind him. That's another driver that needs a good run. Voyles finished dead last week at Daytona. As consequence, comes into this race 40th in the point standings. Zachary Fitzwater there in the 59. We didn't really see Fitzwater up at the front of the field in the race last week at Daytona. He's 35th in points coming into this race. And there's Charles Sandfer in 4th. Sandfer 15th in the standings coming into this evening's event as Evans continues to show the way over Voyles. Rob Evans, a former Pizza Hut X Series winner at Texas Motor Speedway. Daniel Voyles, back in Season 6 of the Hershey's Cup Series, was a 3-time winner, including winning the last 2 races of the season. Charles Sandfer to his inside for 2nd. Sandfer, a multi-time winner in the Hershey's Cup Series. As a matter of fact, 1 year, Charles Sandfer showing off his super speedway prowess, sweeping both races at Talladega. The driver that's worked his way up here towards the front already. Very impressive, that green and white number 37 of Tristen Allen. There you see him on the inside line. Well, Tristen started this race all the way back in the 34th position, and already 5 laps in, he has reached the top 10. So that 37 car obviously very good in the draft, been making some moves, and now having a move made on him. That was Chris Maley with 2 tires almost below the double blue line, as he's going to make it 4 wide going into turn 1. Rob Evans, a fan of Dale Jr. Whoa, Chris Maley, yikes, hang on to her, buddy. But Rob Evans trying to channel his inner Dale Jr. here, trying to block every line. He wasn't able to block Charles Sandfer, though. Sandfer, I think, might be to his left rear quarter panel. Let's see if he's going to be able to mount a charge going here into 3. Evans tried to go down and block him, couldn't do it. Sandfer was there. They'll be alongside each other coming out of turn 4. One car way up high there. That's the Boy Scouts of America 34 of Trey Wright. As Sandfer looks like he's going to get a bonus point for a lap led, and well, maybe not. Wow, that was close. He is going to, but near challenge by Simon Salera. 5th in the points coming into this race. Wanted to get that bonus point. Gonna have to see if he can get it this lap. And here comes the Toyota contingency. I mean, last week, Caleb Farrell held off Alexander Rowe, William Flickinger, and Chris Maley, who finished 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Look who were lined up there just a moment ago. Rowe, Flickinger, Maley. It was almost deja vu from last week, except the 96 was not ahead of them. How about Vince Almariego there, that 56? The cops are coming. The backup car up into the top 10. See him in the middle line there, just behind Chris Maley. Nice job after getting involved in a wreck that was not of his making in round 1 of qualifying, now finds himself up here inside of the top 10. William Flickinger dives to the bottom on Simon Salera for the race lead. We're starting to see a couple of blue ovals make their way up into the top 10, including Almariego. You've got Levi McIntire and Keith Batson. Flickinger's going to clear Salera before they even exit out of turn number 4. So Flickinger to the top position. Here comes John Andrews in the 57. Andrews, who was in a backup car last week at Daytona, managed to finish 14th. And who led that lap? It was close. They're saying it was Flickinger. Flickinger will get the bonus point for lap led. Andrews was close. That was even closer than the battle between Sandfer and Evans a couple of laps ago. And did we just have a wreck? Because the field is just broken up. I think the caution is out. I can't tell. Yes, caution I believe is out. We've got cars on pit road. A lot of wrecked cars. Oh, we still got more damaged cars. Alexander Rowe, Charles Sandfer, James Shelly. Yep, yellow flag is out for the first time this weekend. Alex Gray, Jeff Scott, Simon Bloomfield all on pit lane. And Keith Batson's going to lead them back here to the yellow. Looks like we had a wreck in turn 1. First time this weekend, the yellow flag has flown. And this makes things very interesting because the pit window is just past lap 15 for these drivers to be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. If these drivers come to pit road here on lap 10 going on to 11, they still might not be able to make it the rest of the way without having to come to pit road at least one more time. So the question is, if you're up here with good track position like Batson, Andrews, McIntire, Flickinger, Brock, do you stay out and then just wait until you are close to running out of fuel and pit under green flag conditions? Or do you pit now and risk the chance that you may have to come to pit road at least one more time? Looks like Batson's indicating he's going to come to pit lane. And everyone else is going to follow him. Now the question is, will they be able to make it the entire rest of the way on fuel? Something says to me they won't. Could come down to a fuel strategy race with this first caution coming out on lap number 9. Let's go back and take a look and see what brought out the yellow flag. Big wreck over in turn number 1. Well, really, to be honest, to be able to see how everyone got involved, best way to look at it is courtesy of our helicopter view. And watch in the middle there, the red car, that's Sedale Salera. He's going to get up into the green car of James Shelly. Alexander Rowe gets collected up right there. Charles Sandfer nowhere to go, and then Rowe goes down. He gets Fitzwater and Ormond. They're going to slide up into the wall. And there you see back behind them, that is Jake Galloway into the back of Simon Bloomfield. Sandfer's going to get into Rowe. We're going to jump back in a moment and see those guys that piled in. There's Alex Gray getting into Sandfer. Daniel Voyles just avoids, as does Trey Wright, as does Lopes, and Garcia, and Gamington. Nice job by them. There's the 23 of Galloway. He got into the back of Simon Bloomfield. See what happens with them. Yeah, there's just nowhere to go. They're trying to slow up. And there's just no room up there on the top side. They've got drivers to the inside. Galloway almost was to the inside of Bloomfield, but got him in the left rear quarter panel. It's like Daniel Voyles did get a little piece of that wreck. And also did Adam Garcia in the 29. So I thought they got through unscathed. Apparently that was not the case. There's Jeff Scott in the 35, and then he's going to get some contact there from the 13 of Jack Hallec. So I'm counting about maybe 8-9 cars that were involved in this one. I'm seeing some drivers as well that were running well in the point standings too. Charles Sandfer came into this race 15th in points, and he was collected up in this. Simon Bloomfield was 12th in points, so a couple of drivers going to take some hard hits in the standings if they're not able to continue. But that's what brought out the caution for the first time this weekend, first time tonight. Let's go back for the restart, as I still don't think these drivers are going to be able to make it on fuel, even though they came to pit road just now under this yellow. Well, pretty much everybody that came to pit road, where they came in, they came out, with a couple of exceptions. Keith Batson came in the leader. He comes out the leader. Andrews, McIntire, and Flickinger there, they are second, third, and fourth. Jesse Turner popped up into the top 5, though, as he got it done on pit road and picked up a spot, moving William Brock back to 6th. Simon Salera will restart 7th. Kyle Langeland 8th. Vince Almariego in 9th, and Chris Maley in 10th. See a couple of cars on the inside line there. Simon Bloomfield and Sedale Salera spent a little extra time on pit road getting their cars repaired. They have fallen off the lead lap, but they have not gone behind the wall. Drivers that have done that have included the following: Jeff Scott, Alexander Rowe, who came in this race second in the points. That's going to be a huge points hit for him. James Shelly, Charles Sandfer, Zachary Fitzwater, and Alex Gray, who was 7th in the points coming into this race. So some drivers going to take some huge hits in the points after tonight's race. 34 cars still running, 32 of them on the lead lap. Nathan Ormond, Jake Galloway, Daniel Voyles, they spent extra time on pit road. They restart on the tail end of the lead lap. We'll have to see when we go back green if they are up to full speed, and we'll be able to hang with the lead pack. We're going back green on lap 14. That's 16 laps to go, and the fuel window is roughly 15 to 17 laps. So it's going to be super, super close on whether these drivers can make it on fuel or not. And remember, they've had to run a couple of laps under pacing here because the caution came out back on lap 9. Green flag back in the air here for the restart. Keith Batson gets us back underway. And I can't tell, it's hard to see if Batson's got damage or if that's just a shadow effect on my screen. It looks like Simon Bloomfield is up to speed. He's going to try and get one of his laps back. He'll succeed in doing so, and at the same time, he's going to open up the door for the 77 of Jesse Turner to move by and take the lead. Is the 39 damaged? Because it looks like he's slow. They're all passing by him. If he made contact with someone on pit road or not, but now Simon Salera has taken the top position. Chris Maley moves to second, and it looks like there could be some rear end damage on the back of the 14 of Eric Sadler, who's now up inside of the top 5. Backup car after having to do an engine change after blowing up in round 1 of qualifying. I think that 39's got damage. I think he's somewhat off the pace. And I can only assume it might have been something that happened on pit road. Maybe coming out of his pit stall when somebody else was trying to get into theirs. Not sure. But up front, Simon Salera, who comes into this race 5th in points, trying to take advantage, as is Chris Maley, who comes into this race 4th in points, of Alexander Rowe dropping out of this race. Got some new players up here at the front. Michael Norman, he qualified well, 3rd, but we really haven't seen him at the front. He's now back up here. How about the 58 of Patrick Smith? He's now up in the top 10 down there on that bottom line. I also see Cody Llamas popping up into the top 10, that Lowe's Camaro. It's all going to come down to who's got enough fuel to get to the end if we remain green to the checkers. We restarted with 15 laps to go. With 16 laps to go. Fuel window 15 to 17 laps. Don't know if they could have saved enough under the 2 pacing laps they had after pit road was open. We're going to have to wait and see. Another thing that might possibly come into play is possible slow traffic. I don't know how long it would take for the lead pack to catch slower off the pace machines. As there is one of them, Jake Galloway, who is just now on the front straightaway. So yeah, I don't think they're going to catch any traffic here before this race is over. Keith Batson is slow. So yeah, you can see, I thought it looked like he had damage on the front. I think he got into someone on pit road, and that's a tough break because Batson came to pit road as the race leader and left as the race leader, and now it doesn't look like he's going to have the finish to show for it. A couple of other damaged cars back here. Adam Garcia, Daniel Voyles, and Jack Hallec just riding it out. And it looks like Simon Bloomfield and Sedale Salera holding up Tristen Allen and Levi McIntire. They got to get around these guys quickly or they're going to lose the lead pack. Pack got split up quite a bit there as there's Caleb Farrell. Oh, Jesse Turner was up at the front. He got faded back very quickly there, that bright green car. But we're looking at Caleb Farrell coming to this race. The points leader last time by was scored in 18th. Trying to make his way up towards the front and trying to score his second win in a row. Chris Maley finished 4th last week at Daytona, leading the way here tonight at Armory. Trying to pick up the victory, and look at some of these other drivers now have popped up here towards the front. Trey Wright in the 34, William Brock the 01, Jordan Lopez. He was really good in qualifying. Qualified 8th for this race. He's now back up in the top 10. Fury Gamington right there in the middle of that white machine, the number 10 YouTube Dodge. And the pole sitter Alex Benyacko is working his way back towards the front as well in the Discount Tire Ford. Up front though, it's the drivers that come into this race 4th and 5th in points. They are 1 and 2, Maley and Salera. Trey Wright had a 17th place finish last week at Daytona. He runs 3rd. Then they're 3 wide for 4th between Almariego, Brock, and Smith. Here comes Simon Salera for the race lead, and Trey Wright's going to go with him. Well, he was. Now he jumps back up to the top side. It's Toyota, Chevy, Ford, your top 3. And Salera needs help. Now here comes some help in the form of Patrick Smith, who got a big run there through turn 1. That 58's going to have some good momentum down the back straightaway. He might be able to make a move on Salera by the time they get to turn number 3. We'll have to see if he makes that choice. He's there, he's on the back bumper, but he stays in line. It will be double wide heading into turn 3 with Salera on the bottom and Maley up top. Almost 4 wide behind them. Here comes Alex Benyacko to the inside, 3 wide for 2nd. Kyle Langeland, the 62. Good run for him as his teammates already encountered problems. Daniel Voyles, Langeland 38th in points. So talk about a driver that really needs a good run here, as I think we may have had a car hit the wall. I heard some scraping. I couldn't tell if it was Maley, Wright, or maybe a combination of both, but now they are fading back. That might have actually been why we saw Jesse Turner had faded back as quickly as he did. He might have gotten kicked up 3 wide and may have brushed the wall. Back where he started, Alex Benyacko leading the way, but here comes Fury Gamington's Dodge, and he's got his teammate. He's got all his teammates right there, actually. The 10, the 11, and the 14. Gamington, Balvin, and Sadler. So can the Dodges work together to dethrone the Ford? We got a Ford separating them right now in Langeland, currently in 3rd place, as Gamington sets his sights on Alex Benyacko. But again, the fuel question still looms over the heads of these drivers. Can they make it? And I think Turner, after he got the wall, I don't know if he hit the wall hard or what, but he is now fading back. He's lost this draft. Gamington trying to get the momentum off the corner, trying to slide up in front of Alex Benyacko. I don't think he's got him cleared. Benyacko going to battle back on the high side, and Gamington will not lead the lap. Benyacko got it by half a car length. Now Gamington's going to have some help in the form of the Ford of Almariego, the Chevy of Patrick Smith, and then there's his teammate ONeal Balvin there as well. And they're starting to move around here. Cars dancing around, looking for 3 wide positions here as we get towards the closing stages of this race. I'm seeing a couple of drivers back there we haven't talked about yet that could still play a factor in this race. That orange and white car of Dillon Young. Karson Gum, you see him up on the top side, and Caleb Farrell, the points leader, he's still in this lead pack. He's also up on that top side in the 96. Still out in front, Alex Benyacko. The one problem with him being out in front, whoa, they're 5 wide back here actually. Let's cover that first. Ooh, give room, guys. Yikes. They settle it out. Kind of. Yeah, they settled it out to 3 wide, but that was close. But the problem for Benyacko being out in front is he is basically cutting the draft for everybody else, which means he's using up more fuel. Oh, and I thought they weren't going to catch traffic, but I was wrong. Jake Galloway into turn 4. The field now entering turn 4. They're going to catch that 23 before the conclusion of this race, so I was incorrect in that. I thought that they didn't have enough time to be able to catch slower traffic, but they will indeed, and I think Fury Gamington realizes that he's going to make the move now to the inside of Benyacko, try and maybe use that 23 as a pick. Kind of ironic that the two cars battling for the lead in the car that they're running down, their primary colors, white, black, and red. What irony. Which line is Galloway going to be in? Is he going to be in the way of Benyacko or in the way of Gamington? He's going to stay up high. That's going to give the lead to Fury Gamington, but they're going to split that 23 3 wide. 4 wide there for around the 5th or 6th position. It looks like Eric Sadler and Dillon Young are the two that are going to get caught in the lane that Galloway was in. But Galloway, all he could do was hold his line. There's nothing you can do when you're in the middle, 3 and 4 wide. And Benyacko's hitting pit road, as is Benny Watson. So there it is, the suspicion that these drivers could not make it to the checkered flag despite that caution coming out. It has come true. These drivers are going to have to make a green flag pit stop, and that could very well decide the winner of this race. No surprise, Benyacko was one of the first to have to hit pit road, as he spent a good portion of this run out in front without the aid of the slipstream being able to save. I'm a little surprised that Benny Watson came to pit road as early as he did, because he was running towards the tail end of this draft. I would have thought more than anything he'd have been the one that could have stayed out the longest. And let's see if anybody from this pack is going to have to come to pit road this time. These pit stops taking place within 5 laps to go. Josh Drake is coming to pit lane. Llamas, Smith, Langeland, Sadler's in. Looks like that's ONeal Balvin in as well. Karson Gum, Ormond, Maley, Stapleton, and Lopes. Also Levi McIntire. Adam Garcia just finished up his pit stop. Does anyone have enough fuel to make it the entire rest of the way? When they hit the line next time, it'll be 2 laps to go. Anyone back here like Andrews or Norman or Salera or Brock, were they saving? Dillon Young and William Flickinger back there as well. Who's going to pit from this group now, as we're going to be heading to 2 to go? Looks like Gamington's coming to pit road. Trey Wright as well. Andrews is in. Those 3 will come in as Michael Norman will inherit the lead. Salera stays out. Brock stays out. And it's not beyond the realm of possibility for a driver to run out of fuel before getting to pit road. We saw it take place with Laurent Lamount in yesterday's Division 1 race. Salera's now going to go for the lead, as I just focused on another Salera. That was Sedale Salera leaving pit road, but we want to see Simon Salera going for the lead. Boy, difficult there with drivers leaving the access road. Dillon Young stayed out, as did Flickinger. I believe Caleb Farrell also stayed out, so the points leader risking it. Tristen Allen, I think, also stayed out. So 7 drivers maybe risking it. Let's see, anybody pitting? Norman's going to pit. Norman's not going to risk it. But Simon Salera is, rather, as is William Brock, as is Flickinger, as is Young. Farrell's going to risk it. Allen's going to risk it. Are any of those 6 going to run out of fuel before we get back to the checkers? Simon Salera, 5th in points after a top 5 run last week at Daytona. Can he make it around this final time? Brock right there with him. Traffic ahead. It's going to help the 4 in terms of fuel saving, being in the draft of drivers up ahead of him. Brock trying to get a run, but does he have enough fuel to do it? I think the 4's out of fuel. The 4 is out of fuel. Brock gets a run to the inside. Brock's going to be able to pass him. Simon Salera is out of fuel. He couldn't hang on through 4. Brock clears him, and William Brock is going to pick up the win here tonight at Armory Digital, and the 4 is now officially out of fuel. He dropped like a rock by the time they got to the start-finish line. William Brock, and now he's out of fuel. Just had enough to get to the end and picks up the win here tonight at Armory Digital Superspeedway. How about that? Salera almost had it. He was about maybe, I'd say, a quarter of a turn short. And you saw the car was burping out of turn 4, losing momentum. He was sputtering, and Brock was able to get around him and just had enough to be able to get to the line. And all 6 drivers that used that strategy, they're going to come away with great finishes, but all of them are going to have to crawl their way back to pit lane. That 01 is not under power. He may need to get a push to victory lane. I'm not sure he's going to make it back to pit road. But William Brock, who came into this race 18th in the point standings, what a victory for the car out of Full Frontal Motorsports. And, oh, look at that, a little contact from Fury Gamington. Not sure what that's all about. But nonetheless, the standings will officially show it is William Brock with the win. Tough break there for Simon Salera, trying to pick up the victory, but just short on fuel. His second straight top 5 of the season, though. Same for William Flickinger, who finishes in 3rd. Dillon Young brings it home 4th, and Caleb Farrell, after his win last week at Daytona, he's going to come away with a top 5 here tonight in 5th. Great run there as well for Tristen Allen, 34th in points. Risky move there, staying out. And he's going to get 6th place as a result. Trey Wright will finish 7th. Fury Gamington in 8th. Benny Watson there in 9th. And Alex Benyacko in 10th. So remember that Benyacko and Watson were the first 2 to hit pit road. Well, they reaped the rewards, both leaving with top 10 finishes here tonight. Michael Norman had to give up 3rd coming to the white flag. He'll finish 11th, though. John Andrews in 12th. Patrick Smith 13th. Cody Llamas 14th. Langeland in 15th. The rest of your top 20 were Balvin, Maley, Drake, Sadler, and Almariego. So not bad runs for the 2 drivers in backup cars, 19th and 20th. You can see that the green flag pit stops definitely shuffled the field up in terms of some drivers finishing off the lead lap and some drivers not. Jesse Turner was the last car to finish on the lead lap in 27th, and then a lap down were Hallec, Voyles, Garcia, Batson, Galloway, and then Salera and Bloomfield, after damage from our only caution, finished 3 and 4 laps down, respectively, 33rd and 34th, and out of the race due to the said caution were the cars of Jeff Scott, Alexander Rowe, James Shelly, Charles Sandfer, Zachary Fitzwater, and Alex Gray. 3 of those drivers came into this race in the top 15 in the point standings, so definitely going to take some big hits in the points heading into next week's race at Pigs Creek. But that's going to do it here this evening. William Brock picks up his first win of the season here in the Skittles Super Speedway Series and may be one of the 8 representatives for this season's playoffs in Division 2. So far this season, we have had Toyotas sweep the races in Division 1. Chevy Camaros have swept the races in Division 2. What's going to happen next week at Pigs Creek? Can't wait to find out. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's race. If you did, be sure to give us a video, like, subscribe, to become part of the crew today. We've shown you full finish results. These are your overall point standings heading into next week, as we will see you at the high banks of Pigs Creek Super Speedway. You ready for 5 and 6 wide racing? It's going to be coming to you next time here on the NNSCRA Sports Channel, Offline Racing at its best.